If all the judge candidates and any candidate that is not going to be featured tonight would move over to this side. There's a line over here. I want you to get in line. If you're featured, you're not in that line. Okay, welcome to RAD Happy Hour. My name is Ginny Laughlin, and I'm just going to ask if everybody would. We're going to move this thing right along tonight, and let me just tell you that if you're talking, everybody can hear you. That's how these acoustics are. So if you please hold your conversations until after the event, that would be great. We'll move this right along. That's why we do this social half hour before the event, so everybody can get all their talking out, and then we can get started. So here we are. My name is Ginny Laughlin. I'm the president of Richardson Area Democrats. And I've got to tell you guys, this crowd is way bigger than our normal crowd. And it has been growing. Every month we have more and more people. And you know why? Because people are fired up. And we are positioning ourselves not just with the wind at our back, but with the work that we're doing. We are going to flip Texas. I hope that the people outside can hear me. Thank you so much for coming and staying, even if you're outside. If you're inside and you're standing, God bless you, man. It's going to be a good night, and the time's going to go fast. And thank you. So, I had some things I was going to say, but I'm just going to move right along. I'll probably find my ways to say my things. You guys know me. If you don't know me, I'll find my ways. So I'm going to ask again if everybody would just keep their conversations down. We can hear what's going on, move right along. Thank you. We always start our Richardson Area Democrat Happy Hour with a local nonprofit. And that's very purposeful because no matter what's going on in the world, all of the bad news and the breaking news and the overwhelm that we feel all the time, there is somebody doing some good work. And we need to keep that in our minds. We need to find ways to support them. There's so many different things that are, being done in the name of charity and helping people and that kind of thing. And so it's really important that we keep that in our mind when we're, going through our days. We do put the list of these organizations on our website, rad.vote, and there's a tab there that has all of our nonprofits that have come and talked to us. So please, if you are interested, check them out. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce Tara Lance, who is also the Plano ISD trustee, and we have voted for her in the past and endorsed her, but she's now working with this nonprofit, and I'm going to let her tell you about it.
Good evening, everyone. I'm so excited to be here to share the work of Hope Store New Beginning Center. Sorry, I feel like I'm kissing the microphone. It has to be very close to my lips. The mission of our organization is to work to empower and support domestic violence survivors in Northeast Dallas County and in Plano. We're a merger of two organizations. Hope Store started in Plano over 40 years ago, New Beginning Center in Garland over 40 years ago. So we have two emergency shelters. We have a crisis hotline. We provide counseling, legal services, case management work. We're there to make sure, free of charge, we can help survivors rebuild their life without violence. We support men as well, because as we know, domestic violence doesn't just affect women and children. We've helped over 1,700 people last year. I know I'm very short on time because you're here to see the candidates. We will have I have brochures at the back. There are pins if you want to take pins. I will be here for a little bit if you want to find me. There are ways to volunteer. This is Megan Valdez. She's our CEO. So I'm excited she's here. Did I miss anything?
Yeah, sure. Good evening, Megan Valdez. I'm the CEO of Hope Store New Beginning Center, but also I was born and raised right here in Richardson and graduated from J.J. Pierce High School in 1999. Woo-woo! So really thrilled to be here and share the good work that we do in the community. We do indeed serve residents of the city of Richardson at both of our locations. So we're here for the community. Our goal is to just make it safer and provide you all with the tools to respond appropriately. So thank you for having us.
Oh, I'll just say, we do have ways to help that we'll make sure get sent out to the group. We have a resale store in Plano, so you can donate items where all proceeds go to help domestic violence survivors. We have lots of ways that you could volunteer. So all that information will get out to you, and I hope you have fun tonight.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here tonight. And I'm sorry we usually have it a little bit longer, but I hope you guys understand. Follow up on our RAD.vote. The next thing that we normally do is introduce all of our candidates. As you can imagine, there are a lot of candidates here tonight. So we're going, and yeah, because, oh, you guys know it's early voting, right? Wait a minute, how many of you have already early voted? That's good. So just so you know, if you early vote, it has two really good things happen from that. One, the candidates don't have to keep spending money to get you out to vote. And two, you don't have to get those texts and emails, and they'll take you off the list. So go vote early, especially in Dallas County. In Dallas County, you need to just not even think about voting on election day. Just vote early. And I'm not kidding you. Do it. Okay? I'm telling you. All right. Our first speaker tonight is going to introduce the whole judiciary situation. We have a lot of judicial candidates, and I am going to have our friend Tracy come up and talk to you about that. She is going to represent, and then we're going to have our candidates come over. They have 10 seconds each. If they start going over 10 seconds, just clap them off.
Good evening, good evening. First icebreaker. I broke my foot because BETO was rushing to get here and he ran over my foot trying to get in. But good evening. I'm here to talk to you why voting for judges is important. When people go and vote, you think about the top races, the presidents, the Senate, the Congress. You don't think about the judicial races. Those are important races, and this is why. Judges vote, judges decide cases that affect your life every day. Judges decide cases that affect your home, your businesses, your contracts, your families, and your financial stability. Judges decide whether due process is protected, whether fairness prevails, and whether the rule of law stands firm. And in this political climate, that matters more than ever. We are living in a time when rights are being violated, when long-standing principles are going away. We need strong judges. We need authority of the court. In moments like this, strength, independence, and courage of these judicial candidates matters. They are the foundation of our democracy. A judge must not bend by political pressure or be intimidated or by powerful interests. A judge must not treat justice as negotiable. Judicial races are important because they determine who will sit at your time you are in need or in trouble. In this case, we need judges who won't get confused, who won't be fearful, who will work hard. We are running to bring fairness to the bench. We are running to be your voice and to make sure that democracy happens and that the rule of law in the state of Texas stands. First, I am Tracy Shelby. I am running for the 298th Judicial Court.
Good evening. I am Tamika Jones. I'm running for the 330th Judicial District Family Court.
Good evening, everyone. I am Sandra Street, your current judge of the 256th Family District Court. I'm endorsed by our Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett.
Hello, my name is Desiree Badassa, and I'm running for the 302nd Family District Court, and I want to thank Richardson area Democrats for your endorsement, and I encourage all of us in the room, even if we're unopposed after this March election, to keep this same energy up come November.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeneba Barry, Jeneba. Last name is Barrie. I am running to be your next judge of the 282nd Judicial District Court, and I was just endorsed by the Dallas Morning News.
Hello, RAD. I am Ani Ann Groves. Thank you so much for your endorsement. I'm a first-time candidate, but a lifelong Democrat. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am your elected constable for Precinct 3, Constable Henry Curry, seeking re-election. Let's keep leadership you can trust working for Precinct 3. And I challenge everyone, it's a lot of candidates on this slate this year. Do your research and select candidates that have been vetted and that are here to get your vote. Thank you so much. I'm sorry.
I am so excited to see this crowd. My name is Erin Nowell. Some of you might remember me from the Court of Appeals, but now I am running to serve you and be your next judge of County Court at Law #1 in Dallas County. Thank you.
Good evening, Democrats. My name is Hector Garza. I'm seeking re-election for the 4th time here in Dallas County in the 195th Judicial District Court. I've been endorsed by all the Democratic clubs, including RAD. Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Garza. I am seeking election to the 363rd Judicial District Court. It's a felony court here in Dallas. I also have been endorsed by the Democratic clubs, including RAD. Thank you.
Hello, RAD. My name is Carrie Singleton, and I am running for County Criminal Court #9. Thank you for your support and endorsement.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tiffany Baker, and I'm running for Judge of County Criminal Court #1. Thank you so much for being here, everybody.
Well, hi, RAD. I'm Elizabeth Ginsburg. I have been endorsed by your organization, and I'm running for the 191st Civil District Court, and I'd love to count on your support.
Hello, my name is Zachariah Manning. I'm running for Justice of the Peace in Dallas County. I've been endorsed by with 1,000 Democrats endorsing me. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eli Worthy, and I'm running for the Justice of the Peace in Precinct 4 of Collin County, and I am the youngest candidate running in Texas at 18 years old. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cheryl Williams, and I am running
running for Dallas County Court of Criminal Appeals number 2. I'm unopposed, so just vote for me.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ashley Smith. I am a civil litigator. I'm running for the 298th Civil District Court, currently occupied by Emily Tobolowski, who's retiring. So let's elect someone that can be on the bench for a long time.
Wow. Hey, guys, everyone. Good night. My name's Orlando Lopez. I'm running for Texas State House, District 33. Go out and vote for me. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anthony Bridges. I'm running for Congress in District 32. My goal is to be a community advocate first and a politician second. At my core, I'm anti-corruption, anti-establishment, and I want a government that's going to work for the people. Thank you.
My name is Jason Pierce. I'm running for U.S. Congress District 4. I'm here to serve all Americans, not just the ones who can vote for me. My website is piercefortexas.com. The best way to remember is if you want peace for Texas, remove the R.
Good evening, Democrats. For those of you that don't know, I am your city councilman, Dan Barrios, and I am the Democrat running for Congress in Congressional 32. I have the honor of having the Dallas Morning News endorsement along with all the Democrat groups, and I look for your vote. And of course, not just the clubs, but current Congresswoman Julie Johnson and former Congressman Colin Allred. First of all, I just want to say, if you need any yard signs, they're all outside. My team's out there. But Democrats, you guys, look at all those amazing judges that just came up. You guys, let's hear it for them. The amount of work clubs like RAD has done over the years to build this kind of momentum is impressive. And let me tell you why. Because Monday evening, while I'm sitting in the city council meeting, Governor Greg Abbott is going to be here in Richardson, Texas, raising money for the Republican opponent in Congressional 32. So let me tell you something. Richardson and this entire area, they know they may outmoney us, but nobody is going to outwork us. Let's hear it, Democrats.
Woo! We are gonna win. We are going to win again. We've won again and again in Richardson, but this is going to go out from here. We're going to win, okay? Hey, I got to tell you guys something. I've been doing this thing for about 8 years now, where I get people to come to our meetings, and about 8 years ago, there was this kind of stunning candidate that came on the radar, and I have big aspirations, and I said, I'll just get him to come over here and talk to us. And so, for a while, I have worked really hard to get Beto O'Rourke here. And it's I'm glad you guys are happy. You have no idea how happy I am. Beto is like just out there year after year, just working for Texas to flip. He's doing the hard work, and he has an organization that is doing the hard work all over the state. Powered by People is doing great work. And so I'm not going to take up any more of his time. Beto, thank you.
Hello, hello. Buenas tardes. Hey, it's really good to be with you. This is the cure, what we're doing right now, for what ails us individually, what ails us as a state, and what ails us as a country at a moment that we have never been more divided and separated along lines of our difference. When so many of us feel so fucking lonely and isolated by our screens inside our homes, tempted to despair, given what's happening in the country today, to be able to come together in fellowship, in community, to have some beer while we're at it, and to find joy in each other's company and in the fight ahead. The next 9 months are going to test us and try us unlike any other time in the lives that we have led so far. And so the way that you feel here tonight, not because of any candidate, but because of all of the people, make this your mission, day in and day out, to bring your neighbors, your friends, your family, complete strangers together. This is how we are going to overcome these challenges and win power in this country. Are you with me on this? Because this feels good. I want to take you back. I want to take you back not too long ago. It was about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It was the 24th of January, to be precise. Saturday. I don't know where you were, but I bet you'll remember as I describe where I was. I was in Houston, Texas. We were doing our organizing and our REACH registration with our great Powered by People volunteers. We were going to be at the University of Houston downtown campus. We were going to Prairie View A&M. We were going everywhere. But as I was leaving the hotel room that day to go out there and do the organizing, I started to get these alerts on my phone. And I followed the links, and I looked at the videos on Twitter and Instagram of this guy who's pinned down by these federal agents on the streets of Minneapolis. And though he does not have a weapon, in fact, as you watch the video slowed down, one of the agents takes the weapon that he has, that he was legally carrying with a permit, from his waist. And then those agents unload on him 10 shots into his back in broad daylight, with the cameras running as though they could do this with complete impunity. And the pit that I felt in my stomach, the despair that I was tempted to embrace at that moment, and then as I read the updates from the scene where the Department of Homeland Security was going to secure the crime scene so that the Minneapolis PD and the Minnesota State Police could not investigate or find the facts or prove that they needed an indictment so that they could get a conviction, so that there would be justice for the cold-blooded murder of one of our fellow Americans for exercising his First Amendment rights, I asked myself, how the hell are we going to overcome this? I wonder if this thing is already over. And not only was I tempted to despair, but I was asking myself this question. It's just me against Donald Trump, the most powerful man in the world, not just the country, backed by the wealthiest people on the planet, bar none. They have the House of Representatives, the U.S. Senate, the Supreme Court, the governor's mansion in the state of Texas. They've got the federal police, 3,000 strong, who've just descended upon an American city with a police force of only 600 officers. They have taken over. This thing is cooked. Well, I went out that day with our volunteers, and I went out and met complete strangers on the streets of Houston, Texas. I tried to help them get registered to vote. I asked them if I could stay in touch with them. I answered their questions about voting. We shared and commiserated over the misery in this country right now, over the murder of Alex Preddy that day. And something changed in me in that moment. And in the days ahead, I realized I had been asking myself the wrong question. It is not, who am I? It is, who are we? And when I look at this room, and when I think about the people 9 months away from the most important election of our lives, folks wouldn't be surprised to see us gathering in October or even November of 2026. But here we are in February, so far away, yet so committed to the work ahead. And that added the fuel that I needed in my fight. So we went school to school, voter to voter, bringing them in. And by that next Saturday, you probably read the news on this one, in deep red Tarrant County, Taylor Remet, in a special state Senate election, in a district that just 14 months before Donald Trump had won by 17 points, he wins by 14, a 31-point swing in 14 months. It turns out that our fellow Texans, our fellow Americans, our fellow human beings do not like the idea that masked, plainclothes federal agents without warrants or badges can just sweep our fellow Americans up off the streets. that they can kidnap a 5-year-old child and hold him for ransom until his parents come out and then try to deport the entire family. They don't like our fellow citizens being shot in the back, or like Renee Good, shot in the face with complete impunity, no justice or accountability. They do not like tax breaks for billionaires that come at the expense of Medicaid that keeps our fellow Texans alive. They do not like the wealthiest and most powerful people in this country protected from their accountability and justice as they have raped children and trafficked girls under the complicity of Jeffrey Epstein. It turns out that Democrats and Republicans and independents, because it was those three groups voting in that special election, they want something better for America. So I want you to know this. That Saturday, that second Saturday, the 31st of January, is not an anomaly. It's not something random that just happened because it was a special election. Folks, you know this because you live in North Texas. This happened in Tarrant County. Not only is it called the last reliably red urban county in America, it is the bellwether for the state of Texas. And the state of Texas, with 38 congressional races, with one of the most competitive Senate races in the nation. If we win that one, we are the 51st vote in the U.S. Senate. This is the epicenter of everything that is happening in America today. And then check this out. As if that weren't enough, for the first time in Texas history, there is a Democrat running for every single state house seat, all 150 of them. For the first time, there is a Democrat running for every state Senate seat. And for the first time, there's a Democrat running for each one of the 38 congressional districts. Now look, some of them may not make it across the line, but all of them have signed up to serve, put their names, their families, their friends, and their volunteers on the line for all of us. And when you were with me back 8 years ago in 2018, when you took a chance on what we were doing, look, I know we came up a little bit short against Ted Cruz, 2.5 percentage points. Who's counting? But in traveling those 254 counties, and seeing all these great state rep candidates and congressional candidates who had no business running, and yet they did. They sent those votes up to the top of the ticket. They are the ones who got me so close. And all of us working together, we helped them as well. There was a young state representative candidate running against an entrenched, well-funded incumbent Republican, wasn't supposed to win, but James Tallarico kicked that guy's ass in 2018. Colin Allred won against Pete Sessions. Lizzie Panel Fletcher. We saw, to my judicial candidates in Harris County, Houston, Texas, 17 black women won election to judicial positions there in the most diverse community in America. That's what happens when all of us work together. Here's my appeal and my pitch, and then I'm gonna turn the microphone back over to my hero, Jenny. Our organization, powered by people, these great volunteers with whom I'm so lucky to work, each and every day, as we did today, Vida, on the University of Texas Dallas campus, we meet students, some of whom want to talk to just somebody about what's going on in this country. They don't want your text message. They don't want to see your social media post. They don't want to be asked to contribute 25 bucks. They want another human being, and they want to ask that person, why should I vote in this next election? What does it matter if I'm registered or not? And you as a human, face to face, eyeball to eyeball, just as we are right now, get to answer that question and bring that young voter into this election. Today, we were at UTD. Yesterday, we were at University of Texas, Arlington. UNT the day before. MSU on Monday in Wichita Falls, that liberal bastion of Wichita County. Tomorrow, we'll be at Texas Women's University. And listen, this stuff works. Let me make the case here, and then I want you to join us. When our Powered by People volunteers meet these young future voters, get them registered or confirm their registration, in every instance we ask them, May we stay in touch with you over the course of this election. In almost every instance, they say yes. The person that registers or meets that voter is the volunteer who stays in touch with them. That personal connection, forged in person, is built upon over the next 9 months. So when that voter, who may be the first person in her family to ever try to cast a ballot, texts us and says, what form of voter ID do I need to bring? We can answer that. Where's my nearest polling place? We can answer that. What are the voting hours? We can answer that. My husband was just deployed overseas. How does he vote? We can answer that. And in 2024, when we ran this program, we took a voter rate for young Texans of 37% to 79% for those who are in our system. We want you with us. Y por el último, this is the last thing. This next 9 months is just going to kick the shit out of us. It is going to be the toughest thing you have ever seen, the toughest things we have ever witnessed. You know, Donald Trump has already threatened to cancel mail-in voting. He's already threatened to nationalize the elections. He's already redrawn 5 congressional districts in this state, and he has just gotten started. He's threatening to ask the National Guard to seize the voting machines on Election Day if he doesn't like the way that the returns are coming in. And you better believe that he's going to send those federal agents, Border Patrol and ICE, to every major polling station in North Texas, in Central Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley, and in my hometown of El Paso. That is why I need you now to join us in this effort. We do not want to wonder on the 4th of November if there was something more we could have done, given the fact that everything we love in this country is on the line. Now you think about this. Some of you may be also tempted to despair, but I want you to count yourself lucky to be alive at this moment of truth. How many generations have had the good fortune of ours to save our country when it needed it the most? 250 years ago, in Lexington and Concord, they fought off the most powerful empire on the planet to ensure that we would never bend the knee to a king again. 80 years later, 300,000 young men sacrificed their lives to defeat the armies of the Confederacy, to end the institution of slavery, and to ensure that we could pass the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. Another 80 after that, it was young men from Richardson, Texas, landing on those beaches in Normandy in '44 to fight fascism and defend this country here at home. And then half a generation later, the civil rights and voting rights activists and marchers who sat in, who called attention to the cause, who shocked the conscience of the country. When John Lewis crossed the Edmund Pettus Bridge in 1965, they won civil rights and voting rights against the armed and elected thugs of Jim Crow. It is those 4 generations, and then it is us, the 5th. What we do with this inheritance, this sacrifice, this struggle, this service that has come down to us over these 250 years will define us in the pages of history, and it will determine what is possible going forward for America. So, no pressure, Richardson, but we must come through at this moment of truth. Are you with me? Yeah. Are we going to volunteer? Are we going to go win these elections? All right, I love you guys. Thank you for coming out tonight. Viva Jenny.
What he said. He's got a jet, so thank you, Beto, so much for coming out tonight, for joining us. Of all the places that you could be, you came here, and I thank you. But I'm going to tell you guys what. You know why Beto came out here tonight? Because we're building something in Richardson. He knows, he hears what's going on here. We're doing things that are rather unprecedented. this club, this number of people, the work that we're doing with electing, with getting out the vote, with making a difference at City Hall. I mean, we show up. We show up, whether it's down in Hutchins and that abomination of a warehouse that we were part of getting rid of that thing, y'all. We were part of that. We are standing up with all the things that are happening, whether we're protesting on Saturday morning at Campbell and 75, or we are up on the bridge with our banners twice a week at least. We've got Thursday afternoon from 3:30 to 5:30. They're up there every week at Collins and 75. And again on Saturday morning. They need people up there, whether you're going to help hold the banners, or you're going to wave, you're going to bring your flag, whatever you're going to do, you need to help out with that too. We have lots of opportunities, and I'm going to tell you guys what, coming out here tonight and getting a chance to listen to these amazing candidates and meet all the people that are giving up their time and their money and their lives to run. I mean, that's a sacrifice, you guys. And it's something that this many people came out tonight to see that and honor that, and thank you. But also, there is something that each and every one of us can do every day until and after November, because it's not going to be over when we win. They're going to double their efforts. Whether I'm talking about whether you're given to a candidate, whether you are knocking on doors for a candidate, whether you are making calls, whether you are having a meet and greet at your house, whether you're talking to your neighbors, you have something that you can do to make this go along. And let me tell you, what he was talking about that action is the antidote to despair. It is. I get up in the morning and sometimes I just feel like I can't do this anymore. I'm tired and I'm just beat up. And then somebody calls me and says, Jenny, I need this, or Jenny, can you show up here, or hey, what you did the other night. And man, I'm in it again, and I'm action and I'm going, and that will keep you from despair. That is what keeps you from despair. So, the other thing I want to say is what's really amazing here tonight is most of y'all had signed up to come and be here tonight before you knew that Beto was going to be here. He was like the whipped cream and the cherry, but we've got some really great candidates that you want to hear from. So I will stop talking and I will introduce the next governor of Texas, GINA HINOJOSA.
Thank you. Wow, so we pulled up and I was like, damn, people are really into curling. But this is an amazing crowd. I am GINA HINOJOSA. I am running to be the next governor of Texas. So I have been in the Texas House for almost the last 10 years, but I know I've mostly worked in the Austin area, so I want to tell you a little bit about who I am. So what you should first know about me is that I never meant to run for office. I made my husband promise before we got married to never run for office. What happened was my son was in kindergarten. His school was going to be shut down along with lots of other schools in inner city Austin, and I got mad. I was just a mad mom, and I ran for the school board, and I won. And we saved our neighborhood public schools, and it reinforced for me the power of community. to win when we come together for what we believe in. I love being on the school board. I highly recommend it if anybody is interested in that. I loved being there. I thought I would stay there. I served a term. I ran for the Texas House because I realized the reason our schools are shutting down all over this state is because the state, under Greg Abbott, they take our money and they don't put it back into our communities, into our schools. So I ran for the Texas House and I won. And that's where I have been in the trenches. I got elected with Donald Trump, 2016. And it has been a long road. What I have found in almost 10 years in the Texas House, and I just noticed that Vikki Goodwin, who is my colleague in the Texas House and always in the trenches with me, what I have found in almost 10 years in the Texas House is that the reason there's not money for our schools and our communities and our priorities, the reason we all pay more and we all get less is because we are all paying the Greg Abbott corruption tax. So let's start with education. Last year, in the last session, Greg Abbott passed his voucher scam after receiving $10 million from an out-of-state billionaire, Jeff Yaz, who has an interest on this privatization. He turned his back on our kids, on our public schools, and on our communities. Let's look at our electric bills. Y'all feel like maybe your electric bills have gone up a little bit lately, paying more for electricity? Because you are. Because after Winter Storm Uri, when the gas companies withheld gas while we were freezing some, too many, literally to death in their homes, they waited, and Greg Abbott allowed them to wait until the price was so high that they could make billions of dollars in hours off of our suffering. Greg Abbott decided we would all pay for those profits. He socialized the cost of that, and he got $1 million from the CEO of Energy Transfers after that happened. Beto was just here talking about the outrage, the brutality of these ICE raids and the detention centers, and congratulations to all who were part of shutting down that effort. But the detention centers, the Amazon warehouses that are being converted to warehouse people. Texas is ground zero for that. And why is that? Why is it that Texas is the only state in the union that allows for little children to be locked up with their parents in these detention centers? So someone just said the point is cruelty. I used to believe that. More and more, I believe that the cruelty is the flash bang, is the pyrotechnics to distract us from the corruption. Because this is all about money. Because now these detention centers are run since last year by private prison companies. There's two main ones, Core Civic and Geo Group. Greg Abbott received tens of thousands of dollars from these private prison companies to his campaign, and then created a new kind of licensing to lock up little children in their parents. Anywhere else in this country, that kind of treatment would be prosecuted as child abuse. It is a damn shame. Let me say I'm proud of the work we've done in the trenches in the House over the last 10 years. We broke quorum in 2021 to save our voting rights. We saved Sunday morning voting. We saved free and fair elections because they were trying to give elected judges the power to undo election results. We broke quorum in 21 and saved that. In 2021, we won huge investments into our neighborhood public schools. That was 2019. That was after 2018 Democrats swept and Republicans got scared, right? In 2023, we beat Greg Abbott at his voucher scam. We did in the regular session and 4 special sessions after that. We all did that work together. It's been hard. I wouldn't blame you if you're tired. I'm a little bit tired too. But we have slowed the bleeding playing defense. The problem is that this year he won his vouchers. This year he created 5 new Republican congressional seats. We've just lost too much. And we have nothing left to give at this point. And that's why I made the decision to stop playing defense and go on the offensive and run for governor. Beto was here talking about, only Beto would say, we're so lucky to be in this moment in time. Before we broke quorum this last summer, I had dinner with Beto, and we were talking about these 5 congressional seats, and he said, Gina, you're so lucky you get to do this and be in this situation. And I was like, really? But he said, because you get to take the fight directly to Donald Trump, and so many people wish they could. Well, the thing is that as Texans, we are going to decide not just the fate of this state, but the fate of this country. And let me tell you why. Quite literally, let me tell you why. A few years ago, I was visited from somebody who watches national politics, and he came to meet with me to tell me, look, here's what we need you to know. We need you to know that Texas is going to gain 4 to 5 congressional seats by the end of the decade because Texas is growing faster than the rest of those states, than the rest of the blue states. We're going to take congressional seats from California and other blue states. And what happens if Texas doesn't flip blue by the end of the decade, and now we have 4 years left to do that, if Texas doesn't flip blue to have control of redistricting when those new congressional maps are drawn, and that's done by the Texas House, the Texas Senate, and the governor has veto power, there cannot be Democratic control of Congress for a generation because the math no longer works. And because congressional seats equate to electoral votes, there cannot be Democratic control of the White House for a generation because the math doesn't work. And so this gentleman who does national politics and decided to pay me a visit after my 3rd special session fighting vouchers when I was already feeling a little bit tired, ended by saying this: the way we see it, the fate of the union depends on Texas. And just last week, the chair of the redistricting committee, hey Michaela, another House member I'm honored to serve with in the Texas House in the trenches. Just last week, the chair of the redistricting committee, Todd Hunter, went on an interview and said, you know, because we're going to get these 4 to 5 new congressional seats, we're going to start redistricting in preparation for that in 2027, next session. They're going to redistrict the Texas House and the Texas Senate. And they're going to look at those congressional maps again because they see what's coming. And that's why when you elect me, I will veto those rigged maps. And there's every reason to believe that this is doable. We just released our only poll of this campaign, and it shows we are only 3 points behind Greg Abbott. That is within the margin of error, so that is a statistical tie. We see all across this country, all across this state, Democrats are overperforming by double digits, winning where we haven't won sometimes ever. Beto talked about Tarrant County, but let me tell you, as I travel this state, it's not just Tarrant County. It happened in Cy-Fair, where we picked up 3 school board seats against millions. And as soon as those new school board members got seated, they put the books back in the library that had been banned. We just won the mayor's seat in Leander outside of Austin. Before that, we won a city council seat in Leander outside of Austin. We flipped the mayor's seat in Robstown. It's happening all over this state. It's happening organically because the timing is right and people have finally woken up and are turning out. Young people are very motivated. Our poll shows, and by the way, this ain't just my poll, it tracks with all the public polling that shows we're within single digits, and that independents are with us in a big, big way, and that young people under 30, are with us 29 points over Greg Abbott. So look, this man has a lot of money because that's what happens when you're the most corrupt governor in Texas history. You don't get $100 million in your campaign coffers by doing the work of the people, right? He has a lot of money. We'll have to raise tens of millions of dollars and we'll do it in any way you can help, please. You can go to GINAfortexas.com to help. But I need your help in every single way. I need you, Beto's right. We need you in big, in a way you've never been in big. These next 9 months, and I think it's a little under 9 months now, we're counting down. We're gonna need to work like we've never worked before. Because while the challenge is great, the opportunity is greater. And so I'm asking you humbly, please be in this with me. In every way that you can be in this with me. And for each of us, it's different. We all have our different talents and our different treasures. And I'm asking you to please use them. Let's do this. We can do this. Together, we can bring in a new day in Texas. So thank you so much. I'm GINA HINOJOSA. I'm running to be the next governor of Texas, and I will be with your help. Thank you.
GINA for Texas. GINA for Texas. It's not going to be. We're not going to get $100 million, but she needs our money, and she also needs our boots on ground. She needs us talking to our friends. She needs us talking to our people. That's how we're going to win it. We did the Richardson ISD, and I know it's just a small ISD, but they put money into that thing. I don't know, I'm pretty sure not all of y'all know this, and I'm just gonna tell you, take just a minute to tell you this. They put, the RAD guys, put a lot of money into our Richardson ISD to flip that board to MAGA trustees. And we got on the ground, we got on the doors, we knocked on doors, and we didn't just inch it out, we beat them badly. They had so much more money than we did, and we knocked and we called and we talked to our friends and we won. And that's how we're gonna do it. That's how we're gonna do it for Gina. That's how we're gonna do it for Vikki. Come on up, Vikki.
Hello, Richardson area Democrats. I'm Vikki Goodwin. I'm the state representative from Austin, and I am running to be your next Texas Lieutenant Governor. I feel like this is life or death, literally. We are seeing things happening in our world, in our state, that I never imagined could happen. So I ran for the first time in 2018 because Trump won in 2016, and I said, what world am I living in? There were 12 of us, Gina mentioned it, there were 12 of us Democrats who flipped seats in 2018 in the Texas House. I was one of them. I ran against a 4-term incumbent Republican and beat him, and I am now running against a 3-term incumbent Republican, and I am going to beat him. I ran for the Texas legislature because of my passion for public education. So I grew up in Dallas. My mom was the super PTA mom. She was involved, and so much so she was on the Dallas school board when I was a young adult. Now, her big complaint was it is not the school board that decides how much money we have to spend in our schools on our teachers. It is the Texas legislature, and they are underfunding our schools. And they are still underfunding our schools. Any teachers in the room, any retired teachers in the room? There always are. We have got to support our public schools. This session, I serve on the Appropriations Committee. We underspent what we could spend by $4 billion. The legislature is very conservative. We have these limitations, and one of those limitations says you can't spend more than your revenue. Well, the revenue estimate came in, and the legislature decided to spend $4 billion less than that. We could have spent that on education. We could have spent that on health care. We could have spent that on flood infrastructure. So many things that we could do. Now, on the Appropriations Committee, our TEA Commissioner, Mike Morath, actually said we took a really complicated school finance formula and made it more complicated, more difficult for our school districts to navigate because we don't trust our superintendents and our school board members to spend money wisely. That is ridiculous. We need to stop the voucher scam, and when I am Lieutenant Governor, I will not pass a budget that has $1 going to private schools. Gina mentioned vetoing bad bills. Well, those bad bills will not get to her desk when she is governor and I am lieutenant governor. Some people would argue that the lieutenant governor is the most powerful position. I think our governor has taken a lot of power over these recent years, using executive authority, moving money around, doing Operation Lone Star without legislative approval. But the lieutenant governor decides what bills come to the Senate floor and what bills make it to the governor's desk. Very powerful position. Now, my second main issue after public education is healthcare. So our healthcare system is broken. The fact that we are the most prosperous state and we have the highest rate of uninsured and the highest rate of maternal mortality is absolutely wrong, and we are going to fix that when I am lieutenant governor. I also serve on the Insurance Committee. This session, the Republicans' big idea on how to bring down the cost of health insurance was to remove the requirement to cover rehabilitative care if you have a head injury or a stroke. Horrible idea. Thankfully, the doctors came and they killed that bill. But the author and the chairman of the committee said he will bring that bill back next session. When I am lieutenant governor, we are going to fix problems, not make them worse. Third main issue is housing affordability. My background is as a residential real estate broker. I want people to be able to realize the American dream of owning their own home if they want to. I had 2 bills around this last session, one to bring down rent prices and the other to expand an existing program in Texas called Texas Homes for Heroes. It provides low interest rate loans and down payment assistance for our first responders and our teachers. I wanted to add social workers because we need more social workers in the state, and I wanted to expand the income guidelines so more people would qualify. The Republicans couldn't wrap their head around it. Instead, they passed a sales tax exemption for exotic game because that's going to help a lot of people. They have bad ideas. They don't solve problems. Fourth issue is water. Who here is concerned about water? As the state continues to grow, the state demographer says we're growing by 1,500 people a day. That's hard to wrap your head around, but they are not bringing their water with them. And so we have got to focus on these issues that are critical. We need to put more emphasis on conservation, on water reuse, on technology. I went to Corpus Christi recently. They voted down a desalination plant, but they are going to run out of water. They need something done. The desal plant was going to cost $100 million. But then the price tag went up to $1.2 billion. They said we can't afford that. So we should be putting time and effort into figuring out this problem, bringing in the experts. Instead, on the Texas House floor last year, we spent 1 hour talking about the flood bill, the water bill. And how much time did we spend on stupid stuff like the Furries Act? All right, so those are my 4 big issues, but I know we all agree on the issues, basically, but we haven't elected a Democrat statewide in 30 years, so how are we going to do it? Y'all, I see the same thing happening in 2026 that I saw in 2018 when I flipped a seat. I see people coming out of the woodwork. I see excitement. I see people like BETO continuing the work, inspiring, motivating, getting y'all to come out. So I tell people, I have a little acronym to help you remember what you should be doing every day, or as much as you can. FLOCS, not floss like your teeth, but FLOCS. So that is follow us, myself, and other candidates that you like on social media. Like, often, comment, and share. Y'all, we have the right messaging. We want to help the people in the state of Texas. We want to help working families. We want to put our attention on the issues that impact you on a daily basis. We have the right messaging, but dang, it's hard to get past the Fox fog. Y'all know what I mean? All right, so remember FLOCS. Remember GoodwinForTexas.com. That's where you can go to sign up to help my campaign. You can donate. And y'all, I'm going to need your help, but my plan is to ban, to send Patrick packing, and we are going to have a good win for Texas.
Thank you, Vikki. You see what I get? Every time somebody comes up, I get a hug, and when they leave, I get a hug. I love the hugs. That's why I do this. Hey, I wanted to call out somebody that's here tonight. I think he's still here. Is Joel Montford in the house? Is Joel Montford here? Did he leave? Shoot. He was here tonight. Joel Montford is the one that started all this in 2017, and I should have given a shout out to him while he was here. But that's where this all started, and here we are today. So, one thing I forgot that I didn't say earlier when I was talking about the wins that we've had, I read today that down in Hayes County, they were able to push out an AI plant that was going in there. That's big news, y'all. And that's what we can do when we are standing up. Every day, people are standing up together and doing things that make a difference. And so, next person I want to talk about is Michael Lange. Michael Lange is running for Comptroller, and he came up here tonight just to be with us. So thank you so much.
First, you get your hug. Your money, jobs, the Texas economy. But wow, look at RAD. Aren't y'all like wow? Give yourselves a hand. My name is Michael Lange, and I'm running for the state comptroller, which is basically your money. You know what else is wow? How many of you already voted? Your vote is your voice. That's very impressive. Let me ask you this. How many of you have worked hard for the money you have? Raise your hand. How many of you are satisfied that you're getting value for the money that you've sent to Austin the last years? Raise your hand if you're satisfied. Are you tired of paying $5 billion for a bridge that was supposed to cost $2 billion? Are you tired of a comptroller that's investing your hard-earned money in unregulated, dangerous, volatile things like Bitcoin? Because he has, and guess what? And guess what? He's already lost millions and millions of your money investing your hard-earned money in things like Bitcoin. My mother was a teacher. I've got two sisters who are teachers. I grew up in Houston and in rural Texas. Can you just imagine what even $2 million would mean to a rural public school district right now? Can you just imagine that? And he just wasted it on Wall Street. My name is Michael Lange. I am the proud son of immigrants. My father came to this country. He couldn't speak the language. He had no money. He only had one thing. As a 13-year-old boy in the last week of World War II in Germany, an American soldier, rather than killing him, gave him a Hershey's chocolate bar. And because of that, I'm standing here in Richardson tonight. That American soldier, how many of y'all are veterans? Raise your hand. Let's say thank you. We are the home of the free because of the brave. But that American soldier saw a 13-year-old boy starving, eating one meal every 3 days, and didn't kill him. He gave him a chocolate bar. My father said, "This is the first American I've ever seen, and this is where I'm going," at age 13. That it was a teacher who came to his parents and said, "Your son needs to finish high school." In the 460-year history of my family, my father was the first person to graduate from high school. Why was that important? He grew up on a farming. At those days, you were 14, you stopped school and went to work. But to be an immigrant from Germany, you had to have a high school degree. So because of that American soldier and that teacher, I'm standing here today. Because I grew up in Houston and rural Texas, and because of my background, I have a very deep, caring passion for public education, especially public education. Because I grew up poor, because I didn't have money, I have a deep respect for how hard people work for their money. And because of that, because of what you told me, you're not happy with how your money is being spent in Austin. Texas needs a better comptroller. I worked my first political campaign when I was 16 years old as a Democrat. I've been a precinct chair. I've knocked on hundreds of thousands of doors. I'm a VDR. I've been to the DNC. I've been to the state delegate. I have done every single thing you can do to be a Democrat in this state. I have one thing left to do. That's to break through in November and win a seat for the Democratic Party in Texas. I am not a professional politician. I'm a finance professional with 40 years experience in Texas, in the US, and I've worked in 57 different countries. Why is that important? Do you know how much money the Comptroller looks after for you? $338 billion with a B dollars. That's your money. You have 3,000 staff and 30 offices. Do you want a Comptroller who walks in there day one and knows what to do? Or do you want someone who wants to learn on the job? I'm about doing it right the first day. Guess what else I believe in? Transparency. School vouchers, $1 billion of your money. Who controls the entire process in Texas? The Comptroller. The Comptroller doesn't have to tell you for 5 years what he's doing with your money if he doesn't want to. In me, you're going to learn in 5 minutes. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm not going to sit in Austin. On a regular basis, I'm going to come all around Texas. I'm going to show you how your money's being used. You know what I'm going to show you? I'm going to show you the impact on private school education of school vouchers. You know what else I'm going to show you? The impact on public school and rural education and what's happening and how it's being taken away from you. And guess what? The Comptroller is not just about making sure the money works today. It's about tomorrow and the future. Why? We grow by 10,000 people a week in Texas. We're roughly 32 million people. In 25 years, we will be 42 million people. I want you to think about this. North Texas will grow by 5 million people in the next 20 years. 5 million people who need water, electricity, education, jobs. Do you know the Comptroller spends over $44 billion of your year? If I gave you $44 billion, could you create new jobs in Texas? I can too. And I've been doing it for 40 years, not just in Texas, but all over the world. But here's my priority. I'm going to focus on small business. Why? Because I've got 2 sons. They're 29 and 31. My 31-year-old is afraid to buy a home. Why? Not because he's not doing well at work, because he is. He's a smart guy. He said, Dad, I'm worried that in 6 years' time, I'm getting called in. They say, hey, look, you're doing a fantastic job. You're wonderful. You're the perfect employee. We just don't need you anymore. We only need 10 people. We don't need 20. So how many other companies are going to do that? There's only one solution. Right now, 44% of the people who work in Texas work in small business. If I'm allowed to be your Comptroller, I'm going to use your hard-earned money to do a couple things. Number one, the money's going to stay in Texas, creating jobs in Texas that stay in Texas. And I won't stop until the number of people who work in small business goes from 44% to over 65%. That's what you call progress. That's taking care of the future. And I've got one very boring thing to finish with. Now, it's not a bad joke, but it is a bad joke. Y'all may not know this. And Richardson, you're kind of an advanced place. How many of you ever struggle as you're traveling around Texas to get internet, broadband connection, or a loose cell phone? Anybody ever had that problem? I was in Corsicana 2 weeks ago. 70% of the people raised their hand. Did you know that Texas does not even rank in the top 10 in the nation in broadband quality? Oh, by the way, who's responsible for broadband quality in Texas? The Comptroller. Money, jobs, the economy. And think about this. Every day I'm told, don't go to the post office. Don't go to the bank. Do your doctor online. So if food, water, electricity, is broadband connection now essential life issue? Yes. I agree. And here's what I'm going to promise you. Day one, the technology to improve your broadband already exists. The money is already there. Do you know why? Joe Biden gave Texas $3.3 billion to fix it. And guess what the Comptroller's done with it? Not a whole lot, except you spent hundreds of millions of dollars on plans, right? But here's what I promise you. Texas is going to have the best broadband in the nation. I don't care if you live in Flower Mound or Lovelady or wherever you are, Paris, Athens, Italy, wherever you are in Texas. You're going to get 2 bars, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I'm going to start off as the best broadband system in the United States, and then I'm going to move to the best broadband system in the world. Why? I want everyone to know the place where small business works best and most efficient is Texas. Texas needs to lead the nation. I remember the days of my father. I'm often referred to as a builder Democrat. What do I mean by that? It was our party that built the roads in this state. We electrified the countryside. There's only one natural lake in Texas. We built all the reservoirs. This state exists today because of the Democratic Party. We built things. Now we've got to rebuild things and make them right again. And it starts with your money being treated properly. If you want value for your money, if you want a bang for your buck, if you haven't voted yet, and you want to have a real experienced person do something who truly believes in the Democratic way, my name is Michael Lange. I'm the best bang for your buck. Let's start using the money well. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Michael. Somebody was just texting me. It's too bad that such an important office that's taking care of our money is often not like, you know, really barn burning exciting, right? But thank you, Michael, for doing this job and for, you know, being ready to bring it. Appreciate it. You know, I have something else I want to just say before I introduce our last speaker who's going to bring it home. She always does. There are 3 people running in Richardson that I truly believe can win. One of them is Orlando Lopez. He was here earlier. There he is. Orlando Lopez is running in HD 33, which goes across the Collin County part of Richardson out into Rockwall and Fate and all out that way. Orlando is a great candidate. If we work for him, he will win. So let's work for Orlando. Also, Zach couldn't be here tonight. Zach Herbert is running for House District 112 against Angie Chen Button. Boo. Yeah, it's time for Button to go. It's time. And Zach Herbert can do it. Y'all need to get on board with how you're going to help Zach win. He's out every week knocking on doors, talking to people. He's got what it takes. And the third one that couldn't also be here today is Keenan Colbert. Keenan Colbert is hot, y'all. Y'all need to watch him on TikTok or Facebook or whatever. He is bringing it. So I know that he is going to work. I know that he has got the talent, he has got the personality, and I know that Keenan can beat Bob Hall. We need to get rid of Bob Hall. Y'all don't even know who he is because he didn't show up here. We've never heard anything good from him, but he is just abysmal. He's been I shouldn't say. I almost ran against him because I just couldn't bear that he was going to run unopposed. Thank God that Keenan came and ran. I didn't want to do it, y'all. So anyway, we've got 3 great candidates there, unopposed. We strongly endorse them as RAD. Please not only vote for them, but also get out there and help them out. And finally, my state representative, Michael Lange, my friend, and I just knew y'all wanted to hear from her tonight. She needed to wrap this up, so please.
Richardson area Democrats, what is up? I had to leave early from the Richardson Chamber of Commerce event to come and hang out with you guys tonight. I couldn't let BETO outdo me. Welcome to House District 70 in Collin County. This is the first time RAD has hosted an event in my district, and I am so excited to welcome you guys here. So, for those of you that don't know me, I see some new faces in the back. My name is Michael Lange, and I have the honor of representing Collin County, House District 70 in the Texas House of Representatives, being the first Democrat elected to the Texas House from Collin County in over 30 years. I first ran for office in 2022, and I'll tell you, when I first put my name on the ballot, literally nobody thought that we could win this race, besides my mom and God, really. And I'm telling you, 2022 was a really tough time for Democrats. It was the first year that we were running under new gerrymandered maps. So it was the beginning of a redistricting cycle. Y'all know what gerrymandering was, right? Yeah, y'all heard about the summertime? And I was going up against, first of all, one of the toughest primary recruits, and then the toughest Republican recruit at that time, who sunk $4.5 million. It was the most expensive House race of 2022. Yeah, you don't remember that? And I'm telling you guys, nobody thought that we could do it. But you know who believed that we could do it? RAD believed that we could do it. I carried the endorsement of RAD all the way through my general election, and we won. You know who else believed that we could do it? The people. We knocked over 64,000 doors that year. I personally knocked over 10,000 doors myself. Because when you're knocking doors, you don't need to spend big dollars on trash that literally ends up in your trash, right? How many of y'all been getting those mailers? Where'd they go? Trash. Except for mine, right? Why am I telling you this? Because we made history together in 2022. And that's what started the fear in the Republican Party of Texas. That is why they have been behaving the way that they have, because we made history together in Collin County, and today, Democrats made history again when we swore in Senator Ramette to the Senate, the first Democrat out of Tarrant County in 30 years. That's why the Republican Party of Texas is afraid. They're afraid of the people. They're afraid of y'all. That's why they feel the need to lie, to cheat, and to steal. That's why Donald Trump called Governor Greg Abbott this summer, and he said, I need 5 more congressional seats because my policies are hurting working class Texans. My policies are putting suntanning beds in billionaires' houses while we're shutting down rural hospital beds in West Texas. He literally said this to Governor Abbott. He said, my policies are so bad that people are going without internet in the first world country. He said, my policies are so bad that we're locking up immigrants every day in detention centers. That's what he told Greg Abbott. And Greg Abbott said, yeah, sure, we'll do that for you. And that's why Texas Democrats took a stand. We broke quorum. We fought for democracy. Yeah, that deserves a round of applause. still got fines I need to pay for that. And y'all know Ken Paxton? Oh, we scared the shit out of Ken Paxton. We scared him so bad that he filed a lawsuit in the Texas Supreme Court to try to vacate me out of my seat. Can you believe that? That's how scared they are. They gotta lie, they gotta cheat, and they gotta steal because they see the writing on their wall. Texans are hurting, and Texans are coming out and they're voting, right? We're seeing that right now. We're seeing that Democrats are turning out in record numbers. And that's the kind of momentum that we need to catch right now. We gotta meet this moment. We cannot let our foot off the gas because we have to elect Vikki Goodwin as our next lieutenant governor. We gotta elect my friend GINA HINOJOSA as our next governor of Texas. We gotta elect Mr. Lange as our comptroller. Because what he didn't tell you is that we didn't make a $5 million investment in Bitcoin. We made a $10 million investment in Bitcoin. And the losses are much higher than if we would have invested in gold. That is your money right now that they're just playing around with. Let me tell you something. I'm proud to be a first-generation American. My family immigrated here from Eastern Europe, from a country called Romania. How many of y'all heard of Romania? And the reason I ran for office was because when I was growing up, my mother and my grandmother told me that I won the birth lottery when I was born in the great state of Texas, in the greatest country in the United States. They said if I worked hard, if I got a good education, that I could be anything I wanted in life, even the first Democrat elected from Collin County in 30 years to the Texas House. But they also told me why they left Eastern Europe. Because they were banning health care for women. Because they were burning books in the streets. Because they were telling the FECC that they couldn't have James Tallarico or other Democrats on the news. Well, not really, but kinda. Y'all get the point. That's why I ran for office. Because every day under the Texas Republican Party rule, America and Texas is looking much more like the communist regime that my family fled 40 years ago than the country that I was raised to believe that we couldn't be. And I think that's why y'all see more and more every day common sense Texans coming over to our side of the aisle and voting for things like strong public schools, strong health care, a living wage, right? Affordable housing. How about, can we just work on clean water and the utilities to turn on? I don't like having PTSD every time a storm rolls through. Greg Abbott's got to tell me the grid's gonna hold up. This is the least we can do as government. So why do I tell you this? Because history can repeat itself. Even though we are celebrating great history moments like electing the first Democrat from Collin County to the State House and electing the first Democrat from Tarrant County to the State Senate, we also remember that this anniversary also marks the time of the Japanese internment. Look it up. Google. Y'all can Google it right now. When was the Japanese internment? It's the anniversary is now, okay? And why am I saying that? Because history does repeat itself if we are not careful, if we do not speak up. History will repeat itself. But the history I want us to remember is that 250 years ago, we stood up against the British. Our country is celebrating 250-year anniversary. And what I want us to remember is what makes us great. Immigrants, coming together, fighting for what's right. That's the history I want us to repeat. So in a time when politicians are telling you to punch out, what I'm gonna ask you to do is just reach out your hand to your neighbors. because people are hurting right now. And they're just trying to figure out who's a friend and who's a foe. And if we can start having those hard conversations with our neighbors, some of them I know in Collin County are gonna be Republican, and start having those real hard conversations about what it means to be a Texan. I remember Texans to fight for voting rights and civil rights. Shit, Texans even started Roe v. Wade right here in Dallas. So I want us to start having those hard conversations because we are the big tent party. And we gotta make that tent as big as possible. So in November, we are gonna win all the seats from the top of the ticket all the way to the bottom of the ballot. We're gonna elect Democrats that are gonna work for the people. And we're gonna win, and we're gonna send a message. What this country stands for and what the future is about is the America I believe in. I can't do it alone. I need all of us to work together. So before y'all leave here today, I have one thing that I'm gonna ask of you, other great leaders. Ask not what you can do for your country, right? Yes, we are gonna have to show up. So whatever you thought when you came into this building today that you had a commitment of doing, you were gonna knock 100 doors this election cycle. You were gonna donate $100 this election cycle. You were gonna write 100 postcards. Whatever that commitment was that you told yourself when you walked in that door, guess what we're doing, guys? We're doubling it up. You're gonna knock 200 doors this year. You're gonna write 200 postcards. You're gonna have 200 really hard conversations because that's what this country deserves. That's what it means showing up for the American people. And together, we are going to, what did Benjamin Franklin say? A republic if we can. Together, we're gonna do what? Are y'all ready to get to work? No. That sounded like 100 postcard writing. Are y'all ready to get to work? Are y'all ready to flip Texas? Are y'all ready to scare the shit out of Donald Trump? Let's fucking do it, guys.
All right, I don't got nothing else to say. I got one more thing to say. This girl doesn't just talk the talk. She works harder than anybody you know. She knocks more doors. She does more events. She is out there doing it. She works hard. She's not one of those people that say, let's do this and then let's everybody else do it. She does it. She leads the way. We have the momentum. We need to get to work. We've got the wind at our back. We need to get to work. And that's what I'm going to leave you guys with tonight. We meet every third Thursday. I want to see a big old crowd like this next time, and we're going to be celebrating our wins from our primaries and getting ready to get behind our candidates and go to November. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you. Have a good evening.